Good noon, all of you. I welcome you to BYJU'S exam prep. I am Nikita Gupta, and today is part 2 of our session, Top 15 Grammar Rules. Right? So, we've already had a part 1, and there I talked to you about some of the most important grammar rules. Continuing that, we will look at 15 other rules today, and of course, the effort is always to bring different question types to you. So, fill in the blanks, sentence correction, error spotting, find the correct sentence, find the incorrect sentence. All of these question types will also be covered along with these rules, right? Hi Varun, good noon. Yes, I am doing well. I hope the same for you, Varun. Right. So, why are we learning this? I think we need to establish that also. See, grammar is something that's very essential when it comes to your non-CAT exams, right? Because all the non-CAT exams, they ask specific direct grammar questions. Even for cat, if I talk about your parajumbles, let's say, remember, those of you who have attended some of my sessions on parajumbles would know that grammar based clues help us a lot in forming connections in parajumbles. Same goes for, let's say, a para completion question. When you are reading an RC passage, if you do not know the function of words like furthermore, then how will you relate a sentence to the previous sentences or a paragraph to the previous paragraphs? So grammar helps you at every step of the way when it comes to your reading, and it is absolutely important when it comes to your non-CAT exams. That is why we are doing this, right? A very good noon, Kajal. Hi, Sanil. That's great. That's great. I am really happy to receive this feedback from you, and all the very best for the result. Teaching you guys has been a very fulfilling experience for me. Okay, we formed a connect over these months, right? So, all the very best. If you need any help in the future, also, I am there. We can connect over Telegram. All right. Okay. So, yes, this is your first question. Fill in the blank. A very simple question. And if you have attended my previous sessions, I'm hoping that you will attempt this correctly. Yes, tell me what should come in this blank? So what do you say, Varun, Kajal, Sanil? What do you say? Okay, D. Crash course particularly for NMAT. See, if you're talking about YouTube sessions, so when we come nearer NMAT, yes, we do launch more and more sessions for that particular exam whenever we come near it. Okay, so for that again, we'll be having a number of sessions. In fact, for NMAT, we've already had some sessions. So if you go to our channel, we've had a preparation strategy session. Saral sir took a session called All About NMAT. Then Srinivas sir took a session that talked about again NMAT colleges, etc. So we've had some sessions, and in fact, some of the sessions of last year are also available. And as we come nearer NMAT, we are going to have a lot more sessions: grammar, vocabulary, everything. Okay. D is what you say. Editor's choice says A. All right. So D versus A. Any other response? Any B's? Any C's from your end? So here, let's understand this concept in depth. So, who is a relative pronoun here? What is who? It's a pronoun. That is the first thing that I need to understand. Why is it acting as a pronoun here? Because it has been used for another pronoun. See, pronouns are basically words. Pronouns are words that act as substitutes, mostly for nouns, but sometimes also for other pronouns. Right? So here, who is actually acting as a substitute for I, and that is why it's a pronoun. Right? And it is called a relative pronoun because it refers to or relates to I and tells me something more about I. It relates to or refers to I and tells me something more about it. Right. So that means that whatever verb comes here is actually governed by this. this pronoun that it refers to. It should be governed by this. So with I, so just delete all this here. I dash responsible. What will you say? I is responsible? No. I are responsible? No. I were responsible? No. You will say I am responsible. And that is why am should come here. Okay. Not is, not are, not were. Were will not come here because this is not a hypothetical sentence. The moment I use is never used in hypothetical sentences. The moment I use is, that means it's a present simple sentence and it refers to some actual fact and to nothing hypothetical. Right? That's why C is the answer. Okay? Hope this makes sense. Yes. All right. So coming to the rule that I wanted to teach you here, subject verb agreement. So when I talk about I is singular, right? So with that, I cannot write are, I cannot write were, right? Person, the first person, I is the first person. So with I, the verb used is am. It is not is. Is used with the third person. Is used with the third person, which is he, she, it, and they. Sorry, they to plural है ना, so he, she, it is, they takes are, right? With I we use am, with you we use are. So we should remember this, that with I always am, with you are or were in the past tense if I'm operating in the past tense, right? With he, she, it, is or was if I'm operating in the past tense. With they, are and were. So these are 101 rules of subject verb agreement. And I hope the concept of a relative pronoun and how the verb will follow I is clear to you. Okay, let's come to the second question. Fill in the blank again. I am dash about my decision than I was earlier. What do you say? I am dash about my decision than I was earlier. So editor's choice, there should actually be an apostrophe S in your name. It is editor's choice. Okay, in case you want to, because this is a proper noun, as it's your name, it should be like this. Okay. Let's see what the others say. So Kajal, what do you think? Indranil says B. Okay. Kajal also says B. Do we agree? Others, do we agree? So editor's choice, what do you say? Varun, what do you say? Okay. So this rule is actually a little nuanced. Okay. However, it will help you in answering questions on degrees of adjectives. So we all know that adjectives which describe nouns and pronouns again. So adjectives describe nouns and pronouns are substitutes for nouns and other pronouns. That's the difference between the two. So adjectives have degrees: positive, comparative, and superlative. Positive, comparative, and superlative. Right. So, sure, the question is what should be its comparative degree? When I'm comparing two points of time, when I'm comparing two things, 2 points of time, I should use the comparative degree. When I'm comparing more than two things, more than two people, more than 2 points of time, then I should use the superlative degree. So here comparative should come, that is for sure, and that's why I delete C. Surest cannot come. Then D, I think Those of you who have taken MA at CET would not make this error. Yes, in the exam also, in the last slot, we had some of these questions. More prettier, more better, more surer. This is double comparative. This is an error. If you've said more, then you need not use ER. If you've said ER, then you need not use more. So C and D easily eliminated. It's either A or B. Here the rule is a little nuanced. Have you heard of what syllables are? Syllable. Syllable is actually a unit of pronunciation. Unit of pronunciation containing one vowel sound. Okay. A unit of pronunciation containing one vowel sound. Now this may or may not be surrounded by consonants. Vowel sound, one is important, which may or may not be, surrounded by consonants. So you must be thinking this is such a longish definition. I'll just simplify it for you. Right. So look at the words old, right? Old. There is just one vowel here surrounded by two consonants, LD. So this is monosyllable, one syllable. Old has one syllable. Right. Similarly, when I say sure, sure. So the E is silent in a way. I don't say that sound is not made actually. Sure. Right. Again, one syllable. On the other hand, if I say laptop, lap, top in a way. So A surrounded by consonants, O surrounded by consonants. Two syllables, laptop. Okay. So then if I say, let's take a relatively longer word, monosyllable. In fact, let's take the word monosyllable. The irony is that monosyllable is not a monosyllabic word. Mo, no, sil, lay, bul. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 syllables here. Mo, no, sil. Because the sound is I. Vowel sound is what is focused on. Y sound nahi hai. Y sound nahi hai. It's I sound. So mo, no, se, lay, bul. So 5 syllables here. This is what syllables are. Old, O, just one. Sure, O, just one. Laptop, two. Mo, no, see, label, five. Right. Why am I telling you all this? So I'm telling you all this because when we have a monosyllabic adjective, so sure is monosyllabic, that means it has one syllable only. Then we form the comparatives using ER and EST. Comparatives using ER and superlative using EST. So it has to be surer and not more sure. It has to be surer and not more sure. Okay, one syllable forms a comparative using ER and superlative using EST. Usually, that is what all the grammar books say, so I have to add it. Similarly, usually two syllable, again ER and EST. However, they are divided. I have seen two syllabic adjectives with more and most also. 3 or more syllables. So, for instance, careful. When I have, no, careful is careful. Careful. This is two. So, this is one of the examples of those two syllabic words that take more and most. More and most. More careful, most careful. There is nothing like carefuler and carefulest. So, two syllabic can have more and most also. But 3 or more syllables will always take more and most for comparison and superlatively. Syllables are to be divided from vowel to vowel starting from right to left. So see, basically Indranil, how I go about it is I go by pronunciation, right? So I don't go from right to left. Basically mo, no, right? So because the way I pronounce a word gives me an idea. Okay, I stop at mo first, then I stop at no, then I stop at sil, then lay, then bul. So that way I pronounce the word and that's how I go about it. That's what tells me. And yes, of course, the focus is on where the vowel sound comes, right? Hi Kashish. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am wiser. See, wise, wise. When I say wise, How many vowel sounds do you get? Wise? Just one. Right. So I am wiser than he is. I am wiser than he is. Okay. Sunil, it will be he is. I am wiser than he is. Pronoun comparison. Not him. And the is usually skipped. Do you remember this? If you do not, please watch part 1. Those of you who don't remember this or don't know this, there I discussed pronoun comparison. That was, I think, the very first rule that we did. That I should be compared to he and not him. Okay? Hi Kinjal, good noon. So I hope this is clear to you. It was quite a long story, right? But it was important to talk to you about why more sure is less preferred as compared to surer, because sure is a monosyllabic adjective, right? This is a nuanced rule. You come across it when you study a grammar book. Okay, let's have a look at the third fill in the blank for the day. Yes, in earlier 3 syllables, li, li, right? So I just break it that way and that's what tells me how many syllables are there. All right, yes, if you've been enjoying the session, then please listen to what our team is saying and also give me the answer for this one. You're always welcome, Aditya. So nice to actually see this message. And thank you so much. A, all right. Kajal says A. Gokul says A. So, the second sentence actually helps. The second sentence clarifies in what sense do I mean fish and rice? Do I mean them as 2 separate dishes? Right? Mohit is saying ER is repeated twice. No. It does not matter if has already been there. If you repeat it, you count it as another syllable. You count it as another syllable. It's about pronunciation, no? So if I pronounce it multiple times, I count it as a separate syllable. Okay? So Indranil also says A. Absolutely correct. A is the answer. And I actually wrote the second sentence to clarify this to you, because otherwise it's open to interpretation, right? Whether I'm treating fish and rice as 2 dishes or whether I'm looking at it as one single dish. Okay, so here I'm looking at it as one single dish. Basically these 2 things eaten together. So this should be is. Okay, and not are here. Okay, hope this is clear. And I just used it for the sake of example. This is not true for me at least. All right, so A is the answer here. Is. So when we actually use and, but we talk about the same thing or the same concept, then the verb remains singular. What do I mean by that? When I said fish and rice, I refer to one single thing, which is a dish. When I say law and order has to be taken care of. I'll never say have to be taken care of. Right? Because when I say law and order, I mean the same thing. To be taken care of. Okay. Then if I say breaking and stealing or breaking and entering. Yes, breaking and entering. Let's say this is written outside a gate. Breaking and entering dash a crime. So the moment, in fact, here the job is actually made easier by a crime. If it's a crime, it has to be is. So breaking and entering, you're referring to it as one single thing, one single concept. That if you break and enter, if you do both these activities together, that's a crime. Right? Then the rise and fall of tide. The rise and fall of tide was explained to us by our teacher. Was explained to us by our teacher. right? So rise and fall of tide again being treated as one single concept. Hope this is clear to you. Okay. 25th August, we've done, no, Sanil? We have had an analysis of the morning slot. Saral sir and I took it. So you can watch that session. Okay? It got delayed a bit, but we did it. If we use more sure in our in our informal conversation, it's correct. Okay? People actually don't use surer in informal conversations, and that's why I gave that question. Because again, in informal conversation, we don't stop to think how many syllables a particular adjective is, and surer sometimes results in confusion also when we say it, right? So for clarity, people prefer more sure in informal conversations, right? Unless I happen to be your friend, can I say that, Mohit? So if this happens with me because I teach, right? So when I'm talking to my friends also, I tend to notice grammatical errors a lot. So if they're my good friends, I correct them. If let's say they're acquaintances, then I just stay shut. I've learned it over time, right? So find the correct sentence. Let's see what you say here. Four sentences. You have to give me the correct sentence. Okay, Sanil says B. Mohit says B. Kinjal also says B. Okay, so I'm getting a unanimous B here. Okay. No, okay. I've got a C also. That's it. Nobody says A. Nobody says A. So this is again a common error that I've seen people making. Okay, so while I may not correct all of them, I notice those errors and I use them to frame questions. So uh, genes, I understand when we think about it in our, let's say, mother tongue, or if let's say your mother tongue happens to be Hindi, we look at it as one piece of garment, right? So that's why the tendency is to look at it as singular in English also. However, in English, genes are plural. It's a plural noun. It's not singular. So you cannot say this is my favorite genes. That would be wrong. Okay, these are my favorite genes, and because it is plural, but they have faded. These are my favorite genes, but they have faded. Now you must be thinking it's just one. So why am I using the plural? See, that's how the nuances of various languages are. Okay. So English considers it as this as two things combined together. Two things having a single identity. It still uses the plural for them. Same goes for scissors, right? I think now you'll be able to recall the rule. So sometimes we forget the application, but we are able to recall the rule. So the rule says things that are formed by adding basically two elements. So for instance, two blades make up one scissor, right? So scissors, uh, then trousers, binoculars, spectacles, right? Shears, those big scissors that are used by the gardener, right? Then shorts, anything, any piece of garment like trousers, shorts, uh, then of course jeans. So all of these, they do not have a separate identity. See, that's the thing about them. So for instance, you can't just separate one blade of scissors and start using it. That does not, it does not work like that. It has no identity separately. So all of these that exist in a pair, things that exist in a pair and have no separate identity, they are still considered plural by English. So scissors, my scissors are missing. There is no such word as scissor. No such word as trouser. That's wrong. Okay, my scissors are missing. My trousers are missing. My jeans have faded. Okay, my jeans have faded. Plural. However, what about those things that do have, like, a separate identity? As in, for earring, although we say earrings, but we have one earring also. Okay, one earring also. So there the rule is pretty simple. If you say earring, my earring is missing. If both are missing, my earrings are missing. So for those things for which we consider a separate identity, like shoe, shoes, right? Hand, hands, ear, ears. For them, the rule is simple. If it's singular, you use singular. If you put an S, you use the plural. But for these, they're always plural. Unless, there is a twist to the story, which is unless I say a pair of scissors. Now again, English is funny here, because even though I'm saying a pair should mean two scissors, right? That's what ideally it should mean. But no, when I say a pair of scissors, I just mean one. So a pair of scissors is missing. So now for the same thing for which you were using plural, you've started using singular because of the noun a pair, because of pair here. Right? Meaning absolutely the same for my scissors are missing or a pair of my scissors is missing. Hope this is clear. Yes, the parts are more than one. That's why plurals are in. That's how I also, remember this. Okay. Good noon, Vicky. Good noon. How are you? I hope your exam went well. I think you told me also. Yes. So we are done with 5 rules. Let's look at our 6th rule here. So these are 3 similar sentences. You have to tell me which is the correct one. Yes. Sock. Yes, Kinjal. When socks. When there are 2, we say socks. When there's 1, we say sock. And accordingly, the verb changes. My sock is missing. Okay. Vicky says only C. Others. Sunil also. So no, Sunil says both B and C. Okay. Yes. What about others? Kinjal, what do you say? Gokul, what about you? Harika, Mohit, 3. All right. Varun says C. So should I take it to mean only C? So you're saying that both B and C are correct. So why, again, I framed this question? Because when we speak, our spoken English is different from our written English. Yes, we need to accept that. Everyone must fulfill one's duty is absolutely incorrect. In fact, no one even says it. Everyone must fulfill one's duty. Once can be used here if, let's say, it were one here. If it were one here, we would use once here. So one must fulfill one's duty. This is a correct sentence. This one is absolutely incorrect. Okay. B says everyone must fulfill their duty. So that means it comes down to whether everyone is singular or everyone is plural. What do you say? Everyone. It is singular. Okay. See, everyone, no one, someone, anyone, these are singular. Okay. No one, someone, anyone, everyone, all are singular. So while in our spoken conversations, in our informal conversations, we use there. We use there after everyone for 2 reasons. First, it is very tedious to keep saying his or her, right? I have tried this a lot in my effort to be gender neutral, but it's actually very inconvenient to keep saying his or her again and again, or he or she or him or her again and again. So that is why there is more convenient. That's one thing. Second, because we are trying to become a more gender neutral society. So you must have seen that Facebook also refers to you as they. Okay, refers to your friends also as they, not he, not she. Same for Instagram. So this is actually a move to be gender neutral. However, standard British English has still not come to terms with the time, right? So it's still lagging behind, and that's why B, as per standard British English, as per formal English, it is not accepted. C is what is accepted, and that's why only C is the answer. 2. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Everyone must fulfill his or her duty. No one must cheat on his or her work. Someone must fulfill. Someone must do this task. Basically, you use his or her here as well. All of these are singular. They are called indefinite pronouns, and these are singular indefinite pronouns. Right? So that was the rule here relating to singular indefinite pronouns. Okay. Let's look at the next rule. So let's see what you say here. I think the first question that we did will help you here as well. Let's have a look. Vicky says B. Sanil also says B. Okay. Harika B. Indranil also says B. Okay. So looks like it didn't help you much. See, what did I tell you? First of all, just a common question. In case you're marking B, in the first question, what did I do? I told you that it's actually this pronoun which comes before who that is going to decide what the verb here is going to be. Yes. So if it's me here, I told you, okay, delete this part and just look at this. Is there a sentence like me has been knocking the door? See, if I delete these two, the sentence will get reduced to me has been knocking the door. There's nothing like me has been knocking. There's nothing like I has been knocking. Yes, it can be I have been knocking. Again, this is me have been knocking. Again, you can't use me here. Okay. C is the answer here. Anybody who said C? No. Okay. So let's look at it in a lot of detail. See this. So grammar कहती है logical बात करो. Grammar says that let's be logical for once. So what it says is me is an objective pronoun, meaning that it is used when I need the object of a verb in a sentence. Right? For instance, Sia invited. When I say invited, I use a verb here. So now I need the object of this verb, and that's why I'll say me. Sia invited me. I cannot say me invited Sia. I have to say I invited Sia. Right? Because now I don't need the object, I need the subject. So I is a subjective pronoun. Me is an objective pronoun. Now grammar asks a very basic question. It says, when do you use the object of a verb? When is the object needed? When there is some action that happens. This is important. See, not all verbs are action verbs. For instance, is, am, are. There is no action happening in this sentence. No action happening. Right? So, objects are used when some action has happened in a sentence, because the object is nothing but the receiver of that action. So when there is no action, there is no question of using the object. So there is no question of using me. Right? So you have to say it is I, and then I decides what is going to be the verb here. So it should be C. It is I who have been knocking the door for 2 minutes. Right? So if let's say someone knocks at your door and you ask, who is it? And this person says, it's me, or it is me. In spoken English, in informal English, that's fine. But in written English, this is incorrect. Actually, that person should say it is I. And it's so odd. I agree with you. You must be thinking, what an odd thing to say. But this is what is correct. It is I. Because there is no action that happened here. This is simply, you can, if you want to reduce it to a mathematical equation, you can say it is equal to I. Why would you equate it to me unnecessarily when no action has happened? Right? Moreover, if you say me here, if you say it is me, then what is the subject in this sentence? It is definitely not the subject. The subject of this sentence is I only. It is just a dummy. It's called a dummy subject. Right? So it is just a dummy here. You need a subject actually. I so much. Yes. I hope now this is clear to everybody. But have can be, yes, have can be plural. Have can be plural. So see, subject verb agreement is not so simple that I can simply say, a singular subject takes a singular verb, a plural subject takes a plural verb. This is not a generalization that works for each and every noun and pronoun out there. Because, for example, when I say I, right, I have done this. I have done this. We never say I has done this. See, I is singular, but I use the plural verb with it. Okay, for instance, if I tell just one of you, you are wrong. If I say that, or you are right. Now, you again is singular here. I'm talking to just one of you. Still, I'm using the plural verb. So, this singular subject uses singular verb, plural subject uses plural verb. It works just for the third person. It works just for the third person. It doesn't work for the first and the second person. So, the rule is not as simple as it's made to be. Okay? Yes, Mohit. If somebody says it is I, you have a right to not open the door. That person may be a grammar Nazi. Yes? Okay. So I hope this I versus me is now clear to you. I is a subjective pronoun, me is an objective pronoun. Okay? All right. Now let's have a look at this one. You have to spot the error. These are your options. Okay, A and C you feel are erroneous. Okay, so that's 2. All right. Sanil says has should come there. Okay. Mohit also says 2. So 70% of grammar can actually be attempted through our hunch, through our intuition. It's the other 30% that requires you to learn rules. Right? Varun says no error. Okay. Why, Varun? How is this correct? His politics have never been ethical and have always been manipulative. Shouldn't it be has? But actually, Varun is right. It is E. There is no error in this sentence. Now again, you must be thinking, what is happening today? Uh, with politics, we usually use has. Yes, politics has gone to the dogs. Just giving an example, right? We use has. However, there is an exception to this. Actually, politics can be used in a singular sense also and in a plural sense also. So, when is it used as a plural noun? It is used as a plural when I'm talking about someone's political beliefs or someone's political strategy or tactics, let's say. When I'm talking about someone's political beliefs or someone's political tactics. So, in that case, it is considered to be plural because here it's a substitute for political beliefs or political tactics, both of which are plural. So, his political beliefs have never been ethical and have always been manipulative. So that's why the plural is correct here. In fact, if you read the Indian Express, the Hindu, whenever they talk about a particular person's political beliefs or political moves, they always use the plural verb with it. Okay, I came across this in a novel that I was reading. Although it was a fiction novel, I left it in between, so I don't remember. But again, the sentence there said his politics are manipulated. His politics are manipulated. So from there, I've framed this sentence. Okay. So this is the 30% part. Of course, why would I bring the other 70% to you? I know you can do it yourself, right? So yes, because we need to prepare you for, of course, we need to prepare you for a higher level so that when the exam comes to be of a lower level, you actually enjoy it. You actually sail through it smoothly. So this goes for politics, economics. It also works for mathematics and physics. Okay, although I haven't seen mathematics and physics being used in the sense of a person's mathematical beliefs, let's say, or physical beliefs, let's say, because these are medical sciences, right? So how does it work for economics? And let me show you that also. The economics of this project, the economics of this project, okay, is or are complicated. So when you say that, now you are no longer referring to economics as a subject, right? You're not referring to it as a subject, economics. You are rather talking about the economic aspects of this project. You are talking about the economic or probably even financial aspects of this project. So the economic aspects of this project are complicated, right? So in that sense, politics and economics can be plural, right? Okay, then this is clear to you. Let's come to the next question. This is easier. Now see, this is easy. Very rule based. You've done this rule. B, okay. All right. Okay. We'll look at this. Grammar is no lesser than thermodynamics and astrophysics. Okay. Yes. So is the usage of lesser correct here, Indranil and others? It is correct. It is correct. We'll use lesser here because we are comparing the quality. Okay. When we compare the quality, we use lesser. When we compare quantity, we use less. Okay. So B is what you are saying. Let's have a look at this. See, we are saying, in a way, we are expressing this hypothetical possibility that, वो होता तो ये disaster नहीं होता. That's what I mean to say. अगर वो होता यहाँ पर तो ये disaster नहीं होता. So, can I say was in that scenario? In hypothetical statements, do I use is, was, am? In hypothetical statements, we do not use is, are, was, am. They are not used in hypothetical statements. We use were. Even for a singular subject, we use were. This is how hypothetical statements flout standard grammar rules. They are allowed, right? So, if he were there, the disaster would not happen. Now, regarding your concern that it should be would not have happened. So, let's look at various types of conditionals for this. These are called conditionals because they have if or when attached to them. Okay. In fact, it will be if only in this scenario. That's why they're called conditionals. Now, um, if he were here, if he were here, the disaster would not happen. The disaster would not happen. Okay. Versus if he had been here, if he had been here, the disaster would not have happened. Would not have happened. Okay. So if he were here, the disaster would not happen. If he had been here, the disaster would not have happened. So with had been, we use would not have. With were, see, with past simple, we use the past simple. With past perfect, we use the past perfect. So simple rule hai ye. Past simple, past simple. Now again, what happens is actually in spoken English, no, we don't tend to care. So I see a lot of people saying would not have happened in both the cases, right? Okay. Now, one thing, what is the difference in meaning? Fine, we've learned the grammatical difference, but in meaning, what is the difference? This means that this disaster has happened in the present. This is what this sentence means, that at present some disaster has happened and you are saying, agar aaj wo yahan par hota, to ye disaster nahi hota. If today, basically we are talking about the present here. On the other hand, this means that the disaster happened in the past. Let's say 5 years ago some disaster happened, and you are saying that if he had been present at this particular place at that time, then this disaster would not have happened. So one is a sentence of the present, one is a hypothetical possibility of the present, the other is a hypothetical possibility of the past. Hope this is clear. Yes. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now let's come to our 10th rule here. Error spotting question again. If we were reprimanded for our spoken English, this disaster would not happen. Correct, correct, correct. Reprimanded means scolded, chided. So what do you say here? Any error? Okay. So you attempt this. Meanwhile, I'll just plug in the charger. I forgot to do that, and the laptop's battery is quite low. So just attempt this, and I'll just join. Were given. Okay. Sometime back. Yes, you did. You did. And what did I tell you, Vicky? That both was and were are acceptable here. Both was and were are acceptable here. Why is was acceptable? That's the question. So there is actually no error in this sentence. There is no error in this sentence because both was and were are acceptable. But you must be thinking it's minutes, it's plural, then how is was acceptable? When we talk about time in the sense of a duration, okay, in the sense of a duration of something. So for instance, if I tell you, from tomorrow on your sessions will be of 2 hours, and you say, ma'am, 2 hours is a long time. 2 hours is a long time. So now you are looking at it as one chunk of time, right? You're looking at these 2 hours as one chunk of time, one duration. Same is the case here. If I look at it as one chunk of time, okay, one duration, then I can use was. But because these are minutes also, so if I look at them as 5 separate minutes, I can use were also. So both are acceptable here, and that is why there is no error. I'm so sorry. Okay. No, Indranil. So see, that's the beauty of English, that it's that almost no one knows grammar completely. I also don't know the whole of grammar, right? Moreover, grammar rules change with time. Grammar is flexible that way. So there are certain things that were not accepted earlier, but they are accepted today. Okay. So for instance, you'll be surprised to know that the word importantly did not exist in English for a long time. And when it was introduced, there was a lot of objection to it, that why are you converting an adjective? Why are you making an adverb from this adjective? Right. So, however, today we use it very frequently, more importantly, most importantly. So, nobody knows complete grammar. Okay. And in spoken English, as long as you're able to communicate yourself clearly, no one really cares. Right. So, please speak with confidence, because the person in front of you also does not know the whole of grammar. All right. And it's just the way a child learns to speak. The child is never afraid of, saying the wrong thing. Same should be the case with you. What is more appropriate? 5 minutes was given to each speaker in the debate. See, I think again, this is my opinion. I would not look at it as 5 separate minutes. I would look at it as a duration. So if I look at it as a duration, was is more appropriate. I'm looking at it as one chunk of time, right? In fact, this is an example that I've picked up from Renan Martin. Okay, and this doesn't just work for time. If I'm treating a distance as one chunk, if I'm treating money as one amount, one single amount, it works for them also. So for instance, if you tell me that you live 10 kilometers away from your college, so I say, oh, 10 kilometers is a long distance, 10 kilometers is a lot. I'll say 10 kilometers is a lot. So why am I saying is a lot? Why not are a lot? Because I'm looking at it as one piece, one chunk, one uh, yes, treating it as one single chunk, right? Rather than looking at it as 10 separate kilometers. Same goes for money. You go to buy a dress and the shopkeeper says it's of 10,000 rupees. And you say, oh my god, 10,000 rupees is a lot for this. I think this quite a few of us must have said it once or twice in our life. 10,000 rupees is a lot for this dress. So you say is a lot, not are a lot. So when treated as one single unit, they are singular. Okay. Hope this is clear to you. Okay. Even for spoken English, you can say was. Even in spoken English, you can say was. Okay. Now you have to correct this sentence. Okay. So this part has been underlined and this underlined part has been rewritten. So tell me which one is the most appropriate correction here. Sentence improvement. We have practiced this sentence. Yes. Where did you go to shop, Vicky? That's the question. I think here in Delhi, Emporio is one such mall where I can find an 80,000 rupee shoe. So I think we've discussed this earlier as well, and in the last session also we talked about the rules related to collective nouns. Yes, we also talked about which versus that. So I've just combined those two and made this question. B is what you say, okay. Why not A? Between A and B, why not A? Vicky also says B. Thank you, Vicky. Okay. So which versus that? Now again, if I look at spoken English, a lot of times we don't care whether we say which after something or that after something, right? And, in American English, sorry, in fact, in Spoken English, I should say, not American English, and spoken English. In fact, British and American use it for which and that also differ, but we'll not go there because we have to follow the British usage. But yes, we can always talk about spoken English and written English. So in spoken English, as I said, we sometimes tend to use which instead of that, where we should use that also. But again, because we are preparing for grammar and we can be questioned on this concept, we have to be clear about it. Whenever the piece of information that you mention, so this piece of information, if it is essential, if it is necessary, if it is restrictive, so grammarians call it restrictive or defining, then in that case you should use that. So if I delete this portion, okay, if I delete this portion, right, this is the additional portion, no? So the sentence that remains is the council is or are at 6s and 7s. The council is or are at 6s and 7s. So is this piece of information essential or inessential? Tell me. Essential or inessential? So the council is fighting. Is being at 6s and 7s means fighting or having some disagreement, experiencing some disagreement. Let me see your responses. It makes the yes. I understand that. But there is a rule here, Vicky, because of which I made this question. So today's questions, they are relatively trickier as this is part 2. So we took things a notch higher. So the council that was elected last March is at 6s and 7s, or the council which was elected last March is at 6s and 7s. Tell me what I should write. And what is your opinion? Is this essential or inessential? So you say this is inessential, right? That basically you want to mainly convey that the council is fighting, the council is experiencing some disagreement, right? So here, in case you think that this is inessential, it should be put between parenthetical commas. It should be put between these two commas. This is a very simple rule actually for that and which. No, if something is inessential, you put it in between these additional commas. These commas indicate that the information given is additional. ठीक है? अब ये ना ये sentence थोड़ा ऐसा है that here this piece of information could be essential also, it could be inessential also. It depends on the context. For example, if let's say you are talking about a place that has multiple councils, so let's say there is a council that was elected in April, there is a council that was elected in May. So if there are multiple councils, then this piece of information becomes an essential piece of information because this helps me in identifying which council I am talking about. It helps me in identifying. So if there are multiple councils, then you should use that. If on the other hand, there is just one council and your main focus, your main intention is to tell us that, okay, they are having some disagreement, then which is also fine. But in that case, you should put which in these parenthetical commas, which has not been done in B. Because this has not been done in B, we reject B. The answer is A. This is an extremely, I would call it a difficult question. I anyway combined two concepts here. And even if there is a third concept that I'm going to teach you. So this is a difficult question. But I hope you will understand this, that when we convey an additional piece of information, we put it in between parenthetical commas. This can be essential also, inessential also, depending on the context. If there are multiple councils, it becomes a defining piece of information. Right? I have chosen A here because of the lack of commas. Now your question is absolutely valid, that there is a disagreement. There is a disagreement, and I told you last time that whenever there is a disagreement in a group, or whenever there is a focus on the individual members in a group, then we use the plural verb. And suddenly I am not using the plural verb here. And I am not using the plural verb here. Why am I doing this? How am I doing this? Because there is a rule of consistency that overrules the earlier rule that I taught you. The rule says that fine, if there is disagreement, you should use the plural, or if the group is acting as one unit, then you should use the singular. But once you have used a particular verb for a subject, you'll use a similar kind of verb. The number of the verb should remain the same. You can't do this कि यहाँ पर singular कर दिया, यहाँ पर plural कर दिया. That inconsistency cannot be there. So if it is was here, it should be is here. It cannot be are here. And that is why this is incorrect. That is why this is incorrect. Which wala is incorrect? Because of the lack of commas. A is the answer here. Yes. Is this clear to everybody? It will be that plus is. Okay, that plus is. That because no commas, is because I have used was earlier, so I will stick to my number of the verb because same subject को हम कभी singular और कभी plural नहीं कर सकते. We can't do this. Okay. You could call it parallelism. Yes, parallelism is about consistency only. So yes, you could call it parallelism. Yes, consistency in parts of speech. Okay. So consistency is clear. Which versus that is clear. We're done with 12 rules. Just 3 more to go. Just 3 more to go. Let's just attempt this. Find the correct sentence here. Yes. So I could not take a session yesterday. So I wanted today's session to be a little meaty, a little lengthy, right? Okay, okay. Find the correct sentence. Let's see what you say. Fastest fingers first. Okay. Mohit says A. He's answered the fastest. Sunil, I see why you say B. Again, Kinjal, I understand. Kajal says A. So here, to give you a hint, this means except here. This but means except here. It's a preposition, not a conjunction here. All except one person were involved in the crime. Just a second. Oh, even this is correct then. Even this is correct. Sorry. I should have written was here. Okay. Then there is one answer. Otherwise, there will be two answers. Okay. So I've changed C for you. Otherwise, yes, even the original C was correct. This is correct. All except one person were involved is a correct sentence. Sorry. Except one person were involved. This is a correct sentence. Why? Because except one person is not the subject here. The subject is all, and all is plural here, right? All were involved. All people were involved in the crime. So plural. So this is correct. Now that's why I've changed it to was. And the answer is A. I think Mohit answered this the fastest. A is correct. A is definitely correct. More than one person was involved. Now this defies logic. I can't give you a logical explanation for why this has been, why we are saying that the verb should be was. Because the moment you say more than one person, it's plural, logically. So logically, we should use the plural verb here. It's just, I was reading somewhere that these sort of errors are called institutionalized errors. That we have been making these errors for so long that they've become a rule now. So this is a rule actually that with more than one, you use the singular verb. So more than one person was involved, even though this technically means that it's a plural entity that were involved, right? So A is the answer. So remember this with more than one singular verb. Okay. Remember this. This is incorrect. This is correct. All except one person were involved. Yes. Because except one person is not the subject. All is the subject and it will be were involved. Okay, and all was involved is clearly incorrect. All were involved should come here. So D and B should have been eliminated right away. Okay, so our answer is A here. Hope this is clear. Hope you are enjoying the session. And more than one will take a singular verb. This is your 13th rule. 14th rule, all except one. All except one, right? All except one when we say that. So all is the subject, not except one. Okay. Now, okay, great, Mohit. So you used it here, you applied it here. Good, good. Top 15 exceptional grammar rules. All right, all right. More than one. Yes, more than one person is treated as singular, unfortunately. When we use more than one, when we use this phrase specifically. Okay. Now, find the incorrect sentence here. Last question for the day, last rule for the day. After that, you are free. Yes. Find the incorrect sentence. You have options here. This is an easy one, right? Okay. Others? Doesn't it come down to 2 versus 4? Because I can see that C is definitely erroneous. A lots of pies. Is this correct? A lots of pies. Either I should say lots of pies, which is also relatively informal only, but okay, this is accepted. So lots of pies. No, there's nothing like a lots of pies. Okay. So C is definitely erroneous. Okay. Then it comes down to D. All of the pie has disappeared. So let's say this is the pie. Okay, this is the pie. So I mean to say all of it has disappeared. All of it has disappeared. So all of the pie has disappeared. D is correct. So actually 4 is the answer. Good Vicky. 4 is the answer here. Good Mohit. Uh, good Kajal. Correct. Correct. 4 is the answer. Perfect. Only C is the incorrect sentence here. The rule that we applied here, the acronym for that is SUNUM pronouns. Some, all, none, any, more, or most. Okay. They basically can be singular also, they can be plural also. What does it depend on? It depends on what comes in their off phrase. What comes in the off phrase? What is the context? So, off the pie. The moment I say off the pie, a lot of also comes in this category only. A lot of also is a sanam pronoun only. Right? So, because it's a proportion. A lot of pie has disappeared. A lot of the pies, of phrase as pies have disappeared. This is erroneous. Then this is pie, so it should be has disappeared. Right? Does this make sense to everybody? The off phrase decides what the verb should be. And logically also this makes perfect sense, thankfully. All right. So I hope you enjoyed the session. If you did, then please like and subscribe. Okay. And this is a comprehensive CAT program. It prepares you for all the management entrance exams, not just CAT. And you get a lot of practice material, a lot of expert advice, and even your GDPI VAT preparation. Okay. Uh, yes, in case anything is not clear to you later on also, when you watch the recorded version, you can comment in the comment section. Thank you, Sanil. Uh, it was a conscious effort from my end because I wanted to take things a notch higher now, right? And yes, we can stay connected over Telegram. You can join us on our social media platforms. We do share important GK stuff there. And yes, thank you for attending the session. Welcome, welcome all of you. Yes, Indranil. This rule applies to grammar also. Okay. See you on tomorrow. Today's Saturday, right? So see you on Tuesday now, right, at 12 p.m. And yes, a lot of interesting stuff coming your way. Welcome, welcome. Bye. Thank you, Vicky. Bye bye.